Throughout today's webinar, we will be hearing from the RHI staff. I'd like to pass it along first to Cap Wilkes, Director of Program Development. Thank you for joining us, Cap. I'll now turn it over to you.
Thanks, Kiona. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar today, where we are introducing you to our Project Business Plan Toolkit as a technical assistance in writing a business plan for your network development grant projects. I'm going to switch us over to our presentation. There are many right ways to write a business plan. We have put together a fairly traditional format for your business plan. However, we've worked hard to design it to fit well with the other plans we've developed with you over the past year and a half, namely your strategic and evaluation plans and your marketing plan. Ken, I'm going to take us over to the PowerPoint presentation. Oh, will you put that up for me? Hang on, folks. We'll get that PowerPoint loaded here in just a sec. As we've put together this business plan for you, we've based our work on various resources. So for sure, the Baldrige Performance Excellence Program resource, you've heard me mention that, all of us mention that over the years as an important resource. We also have used the Project Strategic Planning Guide that we presented to you a good while ago now, along with the Behind the Scenes with Strategic Planning webinar. These two resources also build off the Kaplan and Norton resources related to the balanced scorecard work that we do. We also relied on the Project Marketing Planning Guide that we delivered along with the Principles of Marketing webinar. And also the Alex Osterwalder's resources, the Value Proposition Designer and the Business Model Generation Canvas. Shannon, Angie, and I will be sharing this presentation today. And I also want to thank my colleagues, Deb Lane and Kiona Hermanson and Robbie Nadeau, who are not presenting us with us today, but for their contribution and dedication to putting this comprehensive toolkit together. I think you'll find the resources helpful as you dig into the work of writing your business plan. Our focus as your TA provider is to improve the health and wellness of rural communities. One of our key strategies is to focus on you all as leaders, to build your capacity as leaders and planners. We do this by striving to provide you with resources that help you succeed in your grant projects. So we are developing resources for any particular topic or skill. We aim for the middle of the knowledge spectrum, but also we're very aware of those of you who may be brand new to your role as a network leader and need some extra support or detailed explanation. And we also think about those of you who've been there and done that, in this case of writing a business plan. And I think with this toolkit, we have found a great balance. At the end of this business planning writing effort, when your plans are delivered, we look forward to your feedback on how well we met your needs and expectations with this toolkit. Through our presentation today, we're hoping that you will have an opportunity to explore the major components of a business plan, learn about incorporating financial assumptions and projections into your plan, and prepare to document your work using the provided template. A reminder on this slide that your business plan deliverables are due July 31st. So let's get started. A business plan is a compilation of plans. It can be created for an entire organization or for a portion of an organization, such as your network development project. We've developed this toolkit with your grant project in mind. You will notice that we've used this language through the guide and the template. In short, any business plan describes and demonstrates how each component of the project is working together, and in this way is useful for both internal and external readers, as it summarizes how all of your strategic, evaluation, marketing, operational, and financial plans fit together, and documents the project's aggregated effort and expected sustainability 3 to 5 years into the future. External readers of your business plan could be potential or new partners or members or potential funders. First, I'm going to take us a step back and take a look at the big picture. That is the desire you have for your networks and projects to continue to exist over time. This is the concept of sustainability. When looking for a definition of sustainability to give us some guidance and context, we found a common idea around sustainability being when an organization or a project both achieves its outcomes and maintains the ability to do so over time. Another way to say this, and the definition we've developed for rural health networks, is sustainability is the ability to achieve desired outcomes and financial viability through implementation and deployment of the business plan. With this working definition, you can see why we are so excited to provide you with a business plan toolkit. We're excited to be giving you a resource that will, in short, propel you towards sustainability. But even though our definition of sustainability sounds like a pretty easy thing to do, simply implement your business plan, it isn't that easy, or else we'd all be sustained organizations with no worries about the future. The problem is that planning for sustainability requires more than simply executing a series of standalone plans. The key to sustainability is understanding how the different parts of a business interact with each other. And to understand the interaction, we need to be systems thinkers, and we need to utilize frameworks to help us see the different parts. So let's take a few minutes to talk about a systems approach and utilizing a framework to figure out how the parts of a business fit together and interact. So what is a systems approach, and what do we mean by being systems thinkers? Well, here's an example. Using a car, no one part of a car is actually a car. If you have an engine, you don't have a car. Or if the engine were to stand alone, it wouldn't go anywhere. The car is only really a car when it is put together, and put together in such a way that the parts work together. And only then do we really have a car. So we need to understand both the individual parts and how they interact with each other. Today we're going to be learning about the parts of a business plan. Your job as you go forward in writing and also implementing and deploying your business plan is to always be on the lookout for the interactions and intersections. Remember that everything is always connected. As a car is not functional unless all the parts are working together, a business is not performing unless all the parts are working together. The primary purpose of the business plan, again, is to convince external stakeholders and readers of the ongoing viability of the project. It's a document that shows viability 3 to 5 years into the future. And with systems thinking in mind, a business plan illustrates the interconnections between the many plans. Our suggestion and how this business plan toolkit has been developed is to use a framework for your thinking. The interconnections between the many plans can be seen by using a framework because it provides a structure to help understand the different parts and the interactions. With your network development projects, you've already done a lot of planning. And the good news is that you will be able to use aspects of those plans as you think through and write your business plan. I'm going to pass it over to Angie.
Thanks, Cap, and welcome everyone. So let's talk about the business planning process. So there are 3 phases in writing a business plan, and we've broke them up into two levels of work. There's the preparation work followed by the actual writing of the business plan. So the preparation work encompasses phases 1 and 2, which are gathering all of your existing plans and then completing the development planning of your products and services, followed by phase 3, which is the actual writing of the plan. So in phase 1, did I forward this? There we go. So in phase 1, you're going to gather all of the plans you've already developed for your project, including your strategic plan, marketing, evaluation, operational, and financial plans. And you'll want to have these at the ready as you're going to be referring to the information in these plans as you begin to compile your business plan. And so the purpose of this phase is to have all of your previous considerations and planning in front of you so that you're not reinventing the wheel as you begin developing your business plan. While referencing these plans, if you find that any of your prior thinking or planning efforts are out of sync or maybe out of alignment with what you're currently doing, this would be the time to go back and ensure that all of your prior planning is current, so that it's moving your project towards its goals and also strategic objectives. So this slide shows an excerpt from our business plan guide, and it is sharing a little more detail about the who, the what, the why, and the how that's involved in phase 1. So it is talking about, who will gather these plans, network leadership, what, be referring to the information in the already written plans. Why? Because it's going to assist you in building your business plan. And how are you going to do this step by retrieving the following plan? I'm not sure why I'm not able to forward slides. There we go. All right. So phase 2 is the completing product and service development. So this phase involves completing marketing, operational, and financial thinking for each of the products and services designed for your primary target and that are also key to your project's sustainability. The purpose of this section is to identify significant marketing and operational decisions related to each of your projects, products and services, and also their associated costs. So in this phase, you'll want to ensure that all of the interconnected components of your products and services are accounted for in both operations and financial estimates. This is also the time to develop a financial outlook for your selected products and services. And to do this, you'll need to consider how much of the indirect costs to allocate to your selected product or service, along with calculating development and operational costs. This is also the time that you would develop your forecasted net income for your project, which is often a 3 to 5 year time frame. So this financial planning should be done with key staff members and also with input from appropriate partners or board members. And again, this slide shows an excerpt from the guide, sharing more detailed information again about the who, what, why, and how for phase 2. In addition to the business plan guide and template that we've developed for you for this deliverable, we're also providing you with a supporting resource to use in the work you do in phase 2. And this is the product and service development canvas. And this document, along with the guide and the template, are available as a download in the left-hand corner of your screen. We've added it here as a Word document, and so you'll be able to modify or alter this document to meet your needs or your specific planning style. So for the business plan, you will be incorporating 2 to 3 of your products and services that are most critical to your project sustainability. And so these may be products and services designed for your primary target market, and also may be the ones that you included in your marketing plan. So the product and service development canvas was designed to help you think through the marketing, operational, and financial components of each of your products and services. So you can see on the screen there's a screenshot of the first page of the canvas. It may look familiar to you because we did present this tool last winter at our March Network Development Grantee meeting. We've made a few updates to this canvas since then, but it's fundamentally the same tool. Additionally, we're in the process of developing another supporting resource for you, and that is a financial outlook worksheet. This worksheet will be piloted at our upcoming business planning workshop in March, and then again via the April 2019 financial forecasting webinar. So you can watch for that. So getting back to the product and service development canvas, once you've completed a canvas for each of your products and services, you'll then have all the information you need to write your project business plan. So maybe just a little side note that this planning work may take some time, and you'll most likely need input from both staff and your network partners or members. So you may want to be sure to schedule enough time for some in-depth and some structured conversations around these. Also keep in mind that each product and service development canvas that you develop will be needed, you'll be adding those as appendices to your business plans when you submit those. So all of your work to this point, phases 1 and 2, was preparation to begin writing the actual business plan. So phase 3, you'll begin developing the business plan itself while summarizing components and information from all of your completed plans, which describe your strategic, marketing, operational, and also financial thinking. Remember that the purpose of the business plan is twofold. So number 1, it's to convince external stakeholders and readers of ongoing viability of your network or project. And 2, it'll illustrate the interconnections between all of your plans. So this is why we use a system approach, so that we can better understand and also see the viability and the sustainability of our projects. So in summary, the work of phase 3 is summarizing your work from phases 1 and 2, and then compiling them into the project business plan. And this is work that can be done by network leadership and staff. So now moving on to the business plan itself. There's 4 main components to writing your business plan. So there is the network and project profile, the market analysis and plan, the operational review, and then the financial outlook. So the business plan guide will walk you through these 4 components in detail, providing step-by-step instructions for each of them. But for now, let's take a look at each of the components in more detail, and we will start with the network and project profile. So the first section of your business plan will ask for the network and project profile information, and all of that information can be found in your strategic plan. So the information in the network and project profile is foundational to the business plan because it's going to provide the reader with just enough information to make sense of the rest of the plan. It's going to provide context for your network services, infrastructure operations, and then also financial projections. So as part of the network and project profile, you'll first be asked to add your network's vision and mission. And I don't know that we need to go into what those are. I think you know what those are. But again, these can be found in your strategic plan. The second part of the network project profile is the project goals and strategic objectives. So here's where you're going to want to enter your project goals, which are the future conditions or performance levels that your network intends to attain through the life of the grant. And project goals often describe your desired outcome of the project. Next, you'll include your project strategic objectives, and these are these objectives describe the pathways which move your network towards your goals and your vision. The next section is the history and culture. So history is information that provides context for your network's activities and infrastructure. And so this is going to be a brief overview of the main points, dates, and specific network achievements. Some of this information can be pulled out of the history section from your strategic plan. However, the culture section is probably going to be some new thinking for you. It's not going to be located in any of the plans that you've developed to this point. So to consider the culture of your network, you could ask yourself the question, how are you doing your work while meeting your mission and implementing your work plans? So in a way, your culture describes how your network staff lives its values. So an example of your culture might be that you have high expectations for excellence, you view your network as a learning organization, and you strive to be helpful and friendly. So when you are using the template, or in the business plan template, what you're going to do is you're going to pull highlights about your network's history from the history section in your strategic plan, and then you'll add a sentence or two of cultural thinking, so describing what the culture of your network looks like. This section should be kept to roughly 250 words or less. And the final piece of the network and profile, project profile section is the business structure and governance section. And this is another area that is probably going to be new thinking for you, and it's most likely not going to be part of any of the plans that you've created to this point. So business structure is going to be where you provide a description of your network's leadership and staff alignment. It's going to provide a picture of leadership, staff, reporting relationships, and the division of responsibility. In regards to governance, this is going to describe how decisions are made within your network. And so this governance may be located within your network bylaws, or another place you could look for it is in memorandums of agreement or memorandums of understanding. So when it comes time to use the business plan template, this section can be shown in the form of like an organizational chart that's going to display structure and decision-making pathways, or it can also just be narrative. And if it is in a narrative form, you'll again want to keep the section to 250 words or less. So I'm going to switch now to show you what this section is going to look like in the template. So this is a picture of what the network and project profile are going to look like in the template. So you can see here where you're going to add your network mission. It's going to tell you that page 8 in the guide is where you can find more information on this. You can add your network vision. Here's your project goals and strategic objectives. Below that is where you will include your history and culture, and then finally the business structure and governance. So the next component of the business plan is the market analysis and plan. And so for this section, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Shannon Sutton.
Thanks, Angie. Kiona, can you pull the slides back into this pod? While that's happening, I'll let you know the good news about the market analysis and plan section is that, and that's that most of this information will look familiar to you. So similar to a lot of the information in the network and project profile section, the market analysis and plan comes from existing plans. So you'll be pulling information from your marketing plan as well as the product and service canvases that you've already completed as preparation to put your business plan together. In this section, you'll be including highlights of the market analysis and the marketing plan just for the specific target markets you've chosen. So very similar to your marketing plan where you chose a target market and you geared your marketing plan for that market. Same idea for the business plan. So this isn't necessarily for the network as a whole. This is just your 2 to 3 products or services that you consider most critical for the success of your project and for your primary target market. One thing I'll just make note of is that this guide was created to help you with your project deliverables, but it can easily be adapted to create a business plan for your overall network. Because of that, you might notice that we use terms project and network a little bit interchangeably through the course of this webinar and in the guide. So as you all know, since you have completed one or more marketing plans, the purpose of marketing is to determine the best fit of a network's product or service to member or customer needs, and then communicate the value of that product or service to your members, your customers, your primary target market. This implies 2 things. The first is that your network knows how its members value its products and services, or how the target market values its products and services. And also, it implies that the network has the ability to communicate that value in a way that resonates with your primary target market. The key is that your members, your customers, your target market see and understand the value that the network brings, that the network products and services bring from their own perspective. So to complete this section, again, you'll use your marketing plan and you'll refer to your completed product and service development canvases. There are 4 elements in the market analysis and plan section. The first is network members. So this is where you can list your network's current members and provide a short description that offers the reader a little bit of insight as to why that organization is a member. You're building a profile of your members here, so you might include things like the organization, your individual member organization's missions, the type of organization they are, how long they've been a member of the network, where they're located, any specific equipment or connectivity that they have, the products and services of the networks that they use or contribute to, and any shared resources. The second part of the market analysis and plan section is the target market needs assessment. And this you'll be pulling probably directly from your marketing plan. So the purpose of this section is to describe the underlying needs of your target market. So this includes the jobs they do or the goals that they're trying to achieve, the problems they're trying to solve. And you'll want to include the issues that are frustrating or can get in the way of the work they're doing or their pains, as well as the benefits of the job they do, or what happens when they're able to do their job in the way that they want to do, or their gains. From the product and service development canvases, here you can just summarize your target market needs and include a high-level summary. It can be a bulleted list. It does not need to be an extensive enumeration of the pains and gains and jobs, but just a nice high-level summary. And again, just to reiterate, these jobs and pains and gains are specific to your target market, not the network overall. The third element in this section is a listing of your products and services that are critical to your project sustainability. So generally 2 to 3 products or services from your marketing plan that you identified because they met the critical needs of your primary target market and they aligned with your network's mission and vision and your project's strategic objectives. The last section, the last element in this section is about key messages, which again you can pull directly from your marketing plan. So as you know, your key messages describe the value that customers, members, your target market gains by receiving the product or service that the network provides. And as you know, a well-crafted key message spells out how the product or service addresses pains, gains, and jobs, ideally using language that resonates with the folks in the target market. The key message sometimes is referred to as the value statement or the value proposition. So again, you can just refer to your completed product and service development canvases and summarize these into short sentences or bulleted lists in the template. I'm just going to switch over to the template so we can see that section. So here you can see the market analysis and plan section. There are spaces for all 4 of those elements, your network members, your target market or member needs, your products and services, and your key messages. All right, and I'm going to hand it back over to Cap to talk about the operational review.
All right, thanks, Shannon. We've been having some technical issues with our Adobe, so bear with us as we get our slides moving along. So this next section is the operational review section, and the purpose of the operational review, the third component of your business plan, is to demonstrate your project's ability and capacity to sustain the operational requirements of the marketing section of your business plan. In this section, you will be illustrating that your network has the leadership capacity, a clear understanding of your target market's desired experiences and relationship with your project, that you've considered and thought through how you will deliver your product or service. You'll know who your key partners are and have identified the resources and infrastructure needed to successfully deliver your products and services. For completing this section, in the operational review, you'll be referring to your completed product and service development canvases, in particular the operations thinking section, and you'll include the summarized information into your business plan template. We'll take a minute at the end of this section to show that to you if all goes well. The leadership team and skills section describes the skills and attributes that you think contribute to the success of your project. The key in this section is to show the reader that your project has the leadership capacities to be successful in delivering your products and services. Since your network's culture and governance structure have already been described earlier in the plan, the purpose of this section is to highlight the experience and knowledge of your leadership team in an effort to convince your reader, as Jim Collins says in his Good to Great book, that you have the right people on the bus and they're sitting in the right seat. And I want to highlight that this section is new thinking for you, it might be, and so it's not in another plan, and we encourage you to keep the narrative in this section also concise and succinct. In this section, desired experience and relationship, you will be describing your understanding and insights of the target market's desired experience as they learn about, receive, and use your product and service. Experiences may include situations or a type of environment such as a personalized experience or interactive, efficient, those kinds of experiences. An additional aspect to consider is the relationship that your target market expects you to establish and maintain with them as they're receiving or using your product or service. For example, do they expect to have a sense of community and prefer a collaborative relationship? A more specific example is perhaps you have an educational roundtable service. Your target market customer may be happy with the convenience of a remote discussion using phone conference technology, for example, and that they're comfortable with this level of relationship with you. But maybe when you get to know your target market for this education roundtable service, they desire a personal and highly interactive experience. Well, knowing what your target market wants allows you to ultimately deliver a service that they will value. A good place to look for these intentions or preferences is your marketing section, the pains and gains and the key messages. And then these insights will influence the delivery methods you choose. This is a good example of those interactions between the marketing components and the operational components of your business plan that I was talking about earlier. In this delivery section, you'll be describing methods used to actually deliver your products and services to your target market, including the timing of the delivery. Your delivery method decisions will most likely be influenced by your target market's desired experiences. And again, an example, perhaps a real-time delivery method for an IT support service might look like a 24/7 online chat box or maybe a help desk call center. Another example, if you think of yourselves as our target market, the Network TA team's target market, if our job is delivering education, we might be delivering it like this in a recorded webinar and as an online through our online resource library. To highlight the interconnections with your business plan, you will want to carefully consider your target market's pains and gains, and through their desired experiences and relationships, identify and select the delivery method that will meet their wishes. Key initiatives refer to significant actions or work groups needed to develop, implement, support, and deliver your product and service. These are initiatives that take 6 to 18 months to implement and are key to bringing the product and service to life. Often, key initiatives are focused on building infrastructure or capacity of the project. An example could include developing processes or installing new software that is needed but not yet in place for delivering your product or service. It's important to examine your project's infrastructure and assess what is needed to make the product or service delivery possible. You do that in the key resources section of your business plan. This includes identifying the most important tools, perhaps technology, expertise, things like staffing and materials, those resources needed to develop, implement, support, and deliver your product and service. For example, if you provide a care coordination service, supporting infrastructure may include establishing dedicated care coordinators at each site that are responsible for the implementation of the service. Or if you provide telemedicine services, your infrastructure may include dedicated telemedicine rooms, scheduling methodologies, technology. Key partners may be needed also to develop and implement, support, and deliver your product and service. Now these are partners, not necessarily members, that without them, the product or service would not be viable. Therefore, it's very important to accurately and creatively identify who these key partners are. They could be inside or even outside of your network, so be sure to challenge yourself to find these key partners. I think I'm going to skip moving to our template at this point with keep losing our screen here. So I'm just going to mention that in your business plan template within the operational review section. There's space for each of the components that I've identified for you to fill in your description. It can be a narrative or a bulleted list, and you'll be using your product and service development canvases to pull that information. Remember that your canvases were completed, one for each of your products and services, before you even start writing your business plan. And this brings us to the financial outlook section of your business plan. So the purpose of the financial section of your project business plan is to show your external readers that the project's financial outlook is both positive and achievable. Your stakeholders may include potential new members, key investors, or potential funders, and a positive and achievable project financial outlook also supports current members' willingness to invest their time, resources, and funding to a project. Your business plan will illustrate how each product and service is contributing to your project's overall financial viability. It shows that you have thought through both the costs and the revenues of each product and service, and it includes a summary of the financial outlook forecast for each of your products and services. Often this section of the business plan is in the form of a chart. You will also be referring to your completed product and service development canvases to complete this section of your business plan. Another resource, Angie mentioned it earlier, that's in the development phase is our financial outlook worksheet. This resource will provide you with a tool to help you calculate the net income of your products and services, and it will be used in concert with the product and service canvas. There are 4 components to the financial outlook of your project. There's startup costs, estimated operational costs, projecting revenue, and forecasted net income. We'll walk through each of these components quickly. What I'm going to be doing is focusing on the financial vocabulary and the ideas for these different sections. Startup costs include those costs or expenses. Those 2 words are used synonymously that are incurred during development of your product or service. They may include designing, creating, or piloting a new product or a service. These costs are sometimes considered research and development, R&D, and may also be referred to as development costs. If a product or service is already developed and past the design and piloting stages, then when you're looking at your overall financial outlook, the startup costs could be 0. Operational costs are those incurred while actually producing or delivering the product or service. These costs are identified by considering how the project is operationalized with its marketing decisions and what infrastructure is needed for the project or network. These show the interconnections between your plans, the desired experience, the delivery method, key initiatives, key partners, etc. When calculating operational costs, it becomes clear how much your marketing decisions influence your operations. And the way to estimate your operational costs is to understand the cost of each product and service and aggregate or sum those individual costs to a total. When you're thinking about operational costs, there's 2 aspects of expenses to consider, the direct and the indirect. Direct costs are those expenses directly needed to produce or deliver a product or service. Examples of direct costs include payroll, fuel, travel, subscriptions. They're often recurring costs that are repeated with each delivery or use of the product or service. For example, when you are producing or delivering technical assistance educational webinars, we have costs related to our time, but also costs related to the Adobe software and the phone conferencing fees, and perhaps using a subject matter expert for knowledge source. Indirect costs are typically those expenses related to general administration of a project and are not used for producing or delivering the product or service. For example, again in our organization here at Rural Health Innovations, our indirect costs could be accounting services, insurance premiums, office space, rent, utilities, and supplies, those kinds of things. When we have more than one product or service, the total sum of indirect costs may be allocated to each product or service, as Angie mentioned earlier. This is so that you can understand the total operating costs of a product or service. So you add your direct and indirect costs to create your operational cost total. We'll be spending more time talking about this idea of allocating your indirect costs in our financial forecasting webinar that's scheduled for April 17th. It's been mentioned a couple times, and that goes along with delivering to you the financial outlook worksheet. Revenue is the amount of income or monies generated through sales or other funding sources related to a specific product or service. There are two components to calculating revenue, the price and the unit of the sale. Price is established based on the cost of the product. While with price being set based on the cost, you can see how important it is that you know the cost for each one of your products and services. The unit of sale is a way of counting your product or service. You have how many of them? You may have a thing, or maybe you are counting on the number of times your product is being used, or maybe you're calculating the length of time your service is being used. Here are a couple of examples. If the unit of sale includes a physical product, that would be a price per unit. This is something like paying for a book that you purchased. If the unit of sale is on a per use basis, then you're pricing it on the number of times your service or your product is used. This is like paying for a flight or an airplane flight to get you someplace. And sometimes the unit of sale is a per time basis. And so your pricing is calculated on how much time your service is used. This is like paying for a Netflix subscription on a per month basis. Assumptions that influence forecasting revenue are related to either price or the number of units. For example, revenue will change with a change in price. It will go up if the price increases. For example, if the price of your telemedicine consult goes up, your revenue goes up. And revenue will also change with a change in units. It will go up with more units. For example, if you have set an annual membership dues rate or a price per member, then if there are more members, your revenue will increase. I know this is quite straightforward, but these are the, I'm showing you the language and the vocabulary that will help us talk about your financial outlook. Forecasting net income is equal to your total revenue minus your total operating costs. So the net income of a product or service illustrates the financial outlook of your project. A forecast is a best guess of what the future may look like and always includes assumptions about the future. Building scenarios using different assumptions is also referred to as developing a pro forma. It is common for a business plan to forecast net income 3 to 5 years into the future. Identifying cost, price, and unit assumptions is a critical step in forecasting. For example, if costs are anticipated to increase, then oftentimes there is a corresponding decision to increase price. I'd like to switch us over to our template because there is a chart I'd like to show you. So thank you. In your business plan, what we've provided you is a chart to take the results of your summarized and aggregated data for startup costs, operational costs, and revenues for each one of your products and services. The detail for completing these charts lies in the individual product and service development canvases you will have completed before starting writing your business plan. And remember that we're in the development phase of creating the Financial Outlook worksheet as a tool to help you calculate your forecasted net income. The tool will be piloted at the March Business Planning Workshop and then delivered to you all at the April Financial Forecasting webinar. So I think instead of going back, we can go back to the PowerPoint if folks would like to. We have a couple minutes that we can take some questions. You can have any questions about the business plan template or the guide, anything that we have been speaking about. I'll advance the slides to our questions. And if there are any questions, you can either raise your hand, unmute your phone and *2, or you can use the chat box. I'm also putting up this infomercial for our business planning workshop that we have in March on the 26th and 27th. We've referenced it a couple times in our webinar today, and it is limited seating, but we still have a few spots open. So here's a plug for that. Again, either raise your hand or use the chat box, *2 to unmute your phones. I'm going to say thank you again to Angie and Shannon for joining me in this presentation, and Deb and Kiona and Robbie for helping us put the toolkit together. And I'm going to move to our last slide. I think
It looks like David had a comment in the chat box there.
All right. This tool will position our organization to approach external funders. There are many components in this plan that can be easily lifted and dropped into a grant proposal template. I agree, David. And could we have a webinar someday on the basics of a grant proposal to support a network? Oh, it's a nice suggestion. In fact, that's a good highlight for one of our questions on this end poll, suggested topics for future webinars or cohort calls. So thank you, David. We'll take that from the chat box and add that to our list. Please do give us feedback on the top 3 polls. We really appreciate your input on that. Make a little bit of an advertisement for our upcoming TA. We have a summit coming up in February, next week actually. We're very jazzed about it, and I'm looking forward to those that are being attending to seeing you there. It's on the healthcare access solutions, and in the summit is where we spend a lot of time thinking and working out our ideas together. We also have upcoming cohort calls for both the integrated behavioral health, technology, and care coordination in March. You can see those dates there. And then we have our business development workshop in March, also on the 26th and 27th, as I've mentioned. You're always welcome to reach out to us for support. We have our email, networkta@ruralcenter.org. And likewise, you can find resources on our website.
Hey, Pat, this is Tiffany with Lake Okeechobee Rural Health Network. I have a quick question.
Absolutely, Tiffany. Thanks.
And I apologize because for the first 20 minutes, I was listening in on my phone, and then I lost you guys for a bit getting from my phone at a desk. Is there, for this plan, are we only choosing 2 to 3 of our product or services to put into this specific plan?
That was our thought. We know that out of the